What up, y'all? You already know what it is. It's Chrissy D, the Oh Dear podcast number 116. For those of you that don't know, it's me, the senior vice president of the Oh Dear podcast, Oh Dear Nation, Oh Dear Limited, Oh Dear Weekly, and Oh Dear Memorial Weekend. And all subsidiaries there in 42, which with me as always are my darling co-hosts Nick Whitmer and Bret Raybould.
Sunshine up in the building.
You got my note. Last week was be bigger. This week was be more, I don't know, urban. Can you be more, I don't know, cultural? I don't know. Well, you mean
I mean, I didn't say that.
I'm not going to say the word.
Yeah, you got the part though.
Yeah, we got notes from our sponsors. They said, we're trying to get a more urban audience.
This is called, now it's a...
Cool Cigarettes presents the Oh Dear podcast.
And now it's also a radio station, 98.9 Oh Dear.
Boost Mobile.
Oh my God.
It's like, why they're like, we're going to make a cell phone company for black people. I respect that. That's awesome.
Yeah, who are the founders of Boost?
Yeah.
I don't know,
I don't
but
know.
I guarantee you it wasn't.
It's not FUBU, not for us, by us.
It was a bunch of white people who were trying to differentiate themselves from Verizon. They're like, well, black art's cool. Maybe black culture. We can just pick about. What's the story?
He's pretty white.
Yeah. Wow. He's.
I don't know if the camera can get that, gents. There it is.
Oh my God! It looks like a soap
There it
opera.
is.
I know. He does. He looks like the dad from Seventh Heaven.
He looks like David Hasselhoff's stand-in.
Yeah, really, he does. That's
He
exactly
looks,
it.
oh, who's that legendary? He's kind of that legendary comedian, actor. Slightly older. He actually passed away.
I know who you're talking about. Fred Willard.
Yes. He looks like Fred
just
Willard.
Like
I don't know if that's even going to get it, but oh man, look up Boost Mobile founder.
What's his name? Was this like
Ted
Tyrone
Willard.
Johnson?
Tyrone Johnson. He changed his name.
Boost founder Peter Adderton.
Okay.
So
He looks like a Peter Adderton.
Yeah, he does look like a Peter Adderton.
I want to know the guy who pitched him that. I want to be in that meeting where he's like, listen, you're called Boost Mobile. No one here is interested, but here's how you differentiate yourself.
It's so funny. It's like really racist, but you could just be like, it's such a dog whistle to be like,
Yeah, right.
You're sponsored by Boost Mobile.
I wonder
And
how
cool
racist that
cigarettes.
Yeah, I wonder how racist that presentation was.
Yeah.
They just throw a watermelon on the table.
Oh my God.
They're like,
Guys.
who loves that?
Okay.
Watermelon's very popular amongst all the fruit. It's different, like you. But who likes that? And you're like, Jesus, man.
He just takes his hat and he goes,
All right. What's up, y'all? It's like the head of BET. Like, dude's in a suit. He's like, what up, man? Oh, there's nothing worse than seeing that. I might have talked about it before, but there's this one interview with Chris Klein from American Pie, and he goes on Sway on Sirius XM.
Oh my God.
And like, it's funny because he went on like Opie and Anthony like hours before, or like, you know, an hour before, and he's like, hey, yeah, I think this new American Pie movie, we have a lot for everybody. It's gonna be really fun. And, you know, it's really funny. I think it's the best one we did. And then he goes on Sway. He's like, what's up, man? Yeah, you know, we just we just trying to make people laugh and stuff, man. I mean, we just trying to keep it real cool. And you're like,
Man, it's so embarrassing.
you douche.
It's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
oh,
But
shit.
shit, dog.
If he says that.
You know who did it too on Sway? Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts the interview as Quentin Tarantino and slowly becomes, what up, man?
Yeah,
Because he's promoting Django.
He went out. I've been watching a whole bunch of Tarantino stuff, so it's appearing in all my feeds on YouTube and stuff. And like, there's this like Jay Leno appearance in like ¡94 where he comes out with like a pimp cane and he's just doing a black voice the whole interview, and he's hammered, he's drunk. I'm like, what? Like, no one's talking about this? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino.
And that's like '94. That's not even Jackie Brown time.
I have no idea. It was in the 90s for sure, but yeah, it was insane.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
He's got a pimp cane?
He literally comes out with pimp cane and like he's like walking like he's in like a Master P it's like the funniest thing I've ever seen. You have to look it up if you're at home. Google or YouTube. It's like Conan drunk on Leno
Or Quentin.
Yeah, sorry, Quentin. Yeah, Conan.
It's interesting because he had like a black stepdad.
Yeah.
So
He went to a black high school
Right.
too, from what I learned from listening to every interview possible.
Yeah, I had like there was this kid who was white. I forgot his name. I think it was Richard or something. But he was like really tall, and he was white, but he was like dressed black. But like nobody called him a wigger ever because I don't know. Maybe this was a rumor, but they said that he was adopted by black people. Like his parents were black. So nobody like was like you're white, dude. Like he was on the basketball team. He was just black, like,
Right.
but he was white, and nobody had a problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah. Please don't use our words.
I know Whitmer like looked down a little bit. He's like, I mean, you don't have to use it, dude. The W word.
I went to high school with a kid.
We apologize to our viewers or anyone for that
Excuse me.
incredibly offensive language. That was really we just don't endorse that.
I'm gonna
here.
step aside and take some time to educate myself.
Okay, now I'm back.
I love the whole when someone gets in trouble and they just go, I just need to like work on myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing the work. Like what? No, you're doing nothing. You're not. What work? Are you doing worksheets?
Push-ups. I don't know. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I went to high school with a black kid who was albino. He was completely white, but he was like friends with all the other black kids.
Sure.
But he was like harder than all of them, and I felt like he had to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
those
just
kids.
an interesting. I don't know. It's just an interesting world we live in.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about that. God, you reminded me because there's two dudes in my building. They're both jacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is like super nice and just like friendly when you see him in the elevator. The other dude is just like, but he's short, and that's why. So it's like, some dudes just get jacked because they just want to be healthy, and then some dudes get jacked because they got picked on all the time,
Right.
and then they just have the energy of like, well, fuck you, I'll show you. Want to fuck with me? I'm like, no, dude, it's 7
dude.
a.m.
You're like, dude, I'm in an elevator at 7 in the morning.
Like my dog.
How are you like? How do you think I'm an aggressor right now?
I got a carriage for Christ's sakes.
I know.
That's so funny, man. And you're just like
Just
lobby.
like picking up bagels. Like that's it.
I think that checks out. So in the South, I waited tables in Savannah, Georgia, and there was these regulars. It was two couples, and they're the weirdest people. So they were both two jacked dudes, and then two pretty jacked girls. You could tell they're all into fitness, right? But what made these people especially interesting is one, they had the short tall dynamic. The shorter one was always the more aggressive one. But these two dudes were jacked, and they had painted toenails, and they wore flip-flops to like, and then the girls had like the same, and they all had tattoos. And I was like, this is a group of four people. They just interchangeably fuck each other because they're like the same dude four times. Even the girls are the same dude.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And I'm like, how do they meet? Like, how did like one person had to suggest it? I'm into this, and they're like, I'm also into. They went everywhere together. You never saw them separate.
Two couples sit down at dinner, and then the separate couples leave. Like it's a different combination that leaves the table.
Every time, and they wore like almost nothing. Like the weirdest people.
Yeah.
The weirdest people.
Were they regulars?
Yeah, they came in like every couple weeks. Always
Like tank tops?
always
and
tank
like
tops, short
gym
shorts,
tanks?
flip flops, completely done everything. And I'm like, what? It's just weird. It's
But
just,
you said they had their nails done, or the nails,
they like the
polish.
guys, yeah. And I think it was because they were like they wanted someone to say something.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like I don't
yeah.
know. There was something about them. There's definitely like they were all participating in some weird fetish thing. It was like their own sexual fight club or something. Like it was odd.
Sign me up.
Brett takes off his shoes. He's like, see?
Who wants to fuck with me?
What would be the first rule of Sexual Fight Club? Talk about it.
Only talk about Sexual Fight Club.
You never shut up about it.
I heard a story that you probably heard this too, but like Bruce Lee used to dress up kind of like a
Feminine or
yeah,
something?
feminine. And then when people would pick on him, he would beat the shit out of them. And then and then they'd be like, "Why would you do that?" He's like, "Because if you think a gay guy like beat you up, you'll never live that down."
That's more homophobic than trying to beat him up.
It starts, you're like,
I know.
hell yeah, Bruce Lee.
Like,
Like,
who's carrying around that
Yeah.
homophobic baggage? The one who's trying to beat you up or you? Like, if you get beat up by me, you're going to kill yourself later because that's what I would do. If a gay guy ever
So
beat me
funny.
up.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, show him. Wait, no.
Wow, what a fucking babyface heel turn.
Yeah, right.
In one sentence, he just turned.
How often does that happen?
What?
Babyface heel turn.
Oh, all the time.
Do we need to explain that for the people
It's a
who
wrestling terminology. When a good guy turns to a bad guy, it's a heel turn.
Did you say gay guy turns? That's what a gay guy.
Freudianly,
When a
yes.
gay guy turns into the good guy, you're like, wait a second.
A good guy turns into a bad guy wrestler. It's,
Yeah, right.
You know, it usually involves a chair. Like if I wanted to turn heel on Bret, I would just hit him with the chair right
Really?
now.
'Cause
And then
it's just
everybody would be like, "Oh no!"
dishonorable.
Yeah, it's just dishonorable.
So was
Really?
Stone Cold a babyface or a heel?
He started as a heel, but he was so entertaining that they just had to make him babyface.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he would just came out and be like, "I fucking hate everybody. I don't trust anybody. I'll beat
Six-pack
the
of
shit out of
beer.
anybody," and then drink beer afterwards. And then all you have to do to turn to babyface is just like you just don't say you hate the fans. That's it. You're like, I'm still gonna beat the shit out of everybody, but now I'm just gonna drink beer and beat up Vince McMahon.
Right.
That's it. Oh,
So wait, you just omit the part where you're like, these fans
Yeah.
suck.
And then you just go, like if you're in St. Louis, he's like, "I'm gonna beat your ass. Go down to, St. Louis Steakhouse. Woo! Have myself 12-pack of beers. Woo!" And everybody loves
He
it.
would just say the local reference.
Yeah, exactly.
He would always remember it.
I mean, yeah, it's like being in. It's like comedy. You know what town you're in for the most part. Sometimes
Yeah.
you forget, but
Yeah.
The Rock used to do that all the time. He would be like, "This crappy town and these rednecks in this stupid town of Miami." Like it's not even. You just call everybody a redneck, and then like you just stop insulting the crowd, but you just insult the bad guy wrestler. That's it.
Because I know that when I was a kid, I knew that The Rock started off as a bad guy and then became a good guy.
Because he was so entertaining.
Yeah, and I think Triple H did that too. Triple H started as like Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah, he started as a Connecticut blue blood.
Yeah.
That's why he has the name Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And then they changed it to Triple H because the character wasn't that anymore.
Right.
Triple H is like white trashy. Like,
No, he's like a New Hampshire guy. He's like almost Boston. And
Oh,
then
really?
And then he
because
became
that
like-
name is. Growing up, I always interpreted that as like, oh, he's like a Florida guy. But like, hearing the name Hunter Holmes, what is it?
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah, that's. He should have been wearing one of those prep school blazers.
Yeah. No, he came out in like a blue robe and was like riding gear.
Did he act somewhat like that dignified?
Yeah, who'd do this? And he'd come out to the ring and like literally his nose in the air.
This is slowly devolving into a wrestling
I know.
podcast.
I know.
We even have
I didn't start it.
Christian bought an Undertaker poster to put up. It fell down.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're watching on video, that's going to be up at some point.
Yeah, this will be. I bought this for the studio.
But the thing is like
This is 1999 Undertaker. It's a very specific Undertaker.
The fact that you know the era of Undertaker.
that's the attitude.
I mean,
era
you're
Undertaker.
literally doing like an art critic.
This is 1999. It's probably worth 3.8 billion.
Oh man.
Every wrestling podcast should have one person who knows about wrestling
Yeah.
and then two people who don't know anything about wrestling.
That's what
Because,
I-
like, what do you do? Like, who wants to just hear wrestling shit?
I know.
It's like, it's only interesting when other people are like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know. Well,
what did he say?
I've always wanted to do a podcast where you guys come and watch WrestleMania with me. And I just explain everything that's going on, and it's just insane. But WrestleMania is 4 hours, so I'm like, I would. The reality of it is like it's a funny idea,
Right.
But then you actually have to watch 4 hours of
Well,
wrestling.
maybe now that we have our YouTube channel, we could do a live feed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we should do that.
YouTube would get so much hate from actual wrestling fans. They would like,
Really?
because if you shit on it, they actually like, they don't like it. Like, they don't have a sense of humor about it.
Of
Which
course
I don't
not. They like wrestling. It's such a guilty pleasure.
But like, if you go, oh, this is silly, and silly versus stupid is a big difference. Like,
Right.
If I go, oh, yeah,
wrestling.
this is silly.
I just want to clarify: wrestling is stupid.
Fuck you. You don't know how hard these people work. And fuck. That argument is so stupid to me. And I'll get off wrestling because I want to talk about the Olympics. But it's like,
All right, Olympic wrestling.
no.
Kurt Angle.
Well, like, I go, I don't like the Olympics. I don't care about the Olympics. And they go, well, you couldn't do that. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I'm not saying it's not hard. It's just a bad TV show. I don't care about it. Like, I don't care about it as a show.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's unwatchable shit.
Right.
I don't care about any of it.
It's boring as shit. Like, all the people who are amazing at what they do, they spend all this time, years and years, getting to the pinnacle of their achievements or whatever, and I don't care about any of it.
Yeah,
You almost didn't need to do it.
I mean,
not for me.
There are some where like it is calling it just bad television. It's just like there'll be a highlight and it's like someone, it's archery, and then they hit bullseye, and you're like, yeah, I thought that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good at archery,
Right.
and like that isn't visually interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Other like basketball has like, there's just way more variance.
Yeah.
There's only 2 outcomes. It hit bullseye or it got a 9.
Right.
For like those pro archery.
They're also the best of the best of the best. Like, you got to slip into like American Idol. You got to slip in some that don't know what they're doing.
We need a Will Hung.
Yeah.
We need a Will Hung.
I don't know if we were talking about this on the ride to Philly. Brad and I had a show on Saturday, but were we talking about? There was a commercial that was like Home Depot is like was that us? Were we talking about that? Home Depot. There's a commercial with Home Depot that says, like, we are the #1 employer of Olympians worldwide in America or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's like the Olympics is such a bummer because when they get done, they have to go work at Home Depot.
It's like
it's the worst life ever.
Yeah.
Like, you spend all your time to get good at something that's so hard, but there's no money in it because who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you gotta go work at Home Depot.
Right.
like that sounds like a waste of time.
I know. It's
It
like,
really.
If I told you all that I was a master at thumb wrestling, and I spent 18 hours a day thumb wrestling, and I was the best in the world at it, and I went to the tournament and I won, and then it's like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, I work at Home Depot. You'd be like, dude, you chose wrong. Like, put that amount of time into something where, what are you doing? You have to go work at Home Depot. It's not worth
the
it.
gold medal, like, if they wanted to get paid from the Olympics, they were going to have to, like, melt down the gold medal for, like, the alloy and just fucking take it to a cash for gold. It really is, I like, what do you think, what do you get? What check the Olympics pays you to win gold? I assume you also get money.
I don't think so.
Really? That's
sponsorships.
Speaking
genius.
incredibly ignorant, yeah, I think the most money comes from sponsorships. Like, if you're Simone Biles, your face can be on
she can be on
anything.
Right.
But more specifically, if you are like the Simone Biles of a field that's
Curling.
not so big, curling, like
Well,
curling
there's-
equipment, you're the face of curling equipment. You know what I mean? Because you're so niche, but you can get paid for that. And every time you go compete, you wear like the thing on your shirt that has the name of the brand. It's like
Bugle
professional
boy.
bowlers. You see professional bowlers on TV. They always have these bowling shirts with all these patches, and they're getting paid money for each patch. They're just a walking billboard. It's the only way to make money if you don't do something like super lucrative.
Like, you ever see that movie Foxcatcher with Steve
Carell.
Carell? And so, like, Channing Tatum is just like moving like, he's an Olympic athlete, but he's like packing truck and stuff. Like, he's like Johnny Unitas in the 60s. Like, he's working at UPS and shit. And then he wins, like, I don't know if he won the gold or whatever. He won. And like Kurt Angle, like, won the gold medal.
my
and then
God, I knew
afterwards, had to go right back. And then he's like looking for work. Like, all right, what do I do now?
That's so weird. Yeah, it really just took the magic out of it when you just like, wait, they're Olympians. They should just be, they're like premium humans.
Right.
Right.
They should be
I do
allowed
want
to
to point
just-
out, it's like almost kind of funny that the three of us are shitting on Olympians for not doing something more lucrative when we just stand up for nothing all the time.
Dude, they're stupid, dude.
We're just chasing our dreams for fucking a drink ticket.
Yeah.
So they're doing better than us. So I will say that.
I mean, are they?
At least I don't work at Home Depot.
I know. But yeah, I don't know. I've never cared about the Olympics. I tried to do a bit about it. It was like, I think just for me, because I don't have necessarily like a huge patriotic, like, I want to see Team USA win. That's going to make me feel good. Like, I don't really care in that way. So I was like, I need stakes. So I think the losing country should have to take on the winning country's debt. And then, like,
that favors the U.S. so much.
It's like that movie Rollerball.
Yeah.
That came out in like the 70s. Is like all war is gone and we decide all conflict through rollerball.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's like, come on, let's do it that way.
All right, Israel, Palestine, put on your skates.
Like there being like an Al Qaeda Olympic team.
Rollerball is like one of those cheesy movies where like, because Rollerball I think was successful, so then they just started making like knockoffs. Because
there's a lot of knockoffs, and they made a remake of Rollerball in like 2001
with
or
LL
something.
Cool J,
Yeah,
and Chris Klein of American Pie and Sway fame.
Oh my god, man, that fucking chicken head.
Yo, dog, you gotta see Rollerball. I'm with it with my boy LL.
LL, yo, he was giving me tips.
Yo, dude, it was so sick.
Yo,
dude.
we were rapping in the back, man. I mean,
he told me I got bars, but no, I won't do freestyle.
Sway should have gone, all right, you got to throw down a freestyle. He would have been like, fuck, I have to like prove myself. Like, he would have malfunctioned.
Yeah.
You either have to like pull back and be clearly a wuss,
Yeah.
or
Sway should have like literally gone super white and was
Yeah.
like, so tell me, what do you think about Israel
Yeah.
Palestine? Like, what's your investment portfolio look like? Do you have any investments in anything? And he's like, yo, dog, I don't do that shit.
Shit, I don't know about that shit cut.
all about that paper.
Oh man.
Oh, my God.
But those are the rip-off movies of those are so funny because like in those movies they'll always call the sport that they do, like they always have to come up with like a stupid name for it. So like at some point it just becomes like you could just call it like future sport. Like, you want to play a game of drill ball? It's so cheesy. Future sport.
I was going through HBO and I was like, they always do that with every movie genre. Like, you know, like they had like Critters and Gremlins.
Yeah.
I was just searching through HBO looking for a movie and there's Ghoulies. There's like
Yeah.
4 Ghoulies movies. I was
Yeah.
like, what? What are these Ghoulies?
I think those are like popular as like if you saw it as a kid, you always remember it, but it's not a good movie type of thing. But
Is Space Jam that? I was having that conversation. Who was we talking about that? Because the new Space Jam, I haven't seen it. I kind of do want to, even though
I saw it.
Yeah,
can't get
it's not good.
Well, it's not as it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I do really think it's important to put out that it's a kids movie.
it is, yeah.
And the first one was made for kids.
Yeah.
And then since the generation that watched that movie never grew up and everything that they like is still kid shit, the new Space Jam is now for them. So it's a bunch for like bitter 32-year-olds who want the movie to be good.
Yeah.
It's because they still like everything they liked since they were children. They never had to like grow up into another thing.
Which is the same problem with Star Wars. Basically. Yeah. But I started watching it. I'm like, this is fine. People were like, the number one thing that people were saying were like, dude, did they mention Warner Brothers enough? Like,
yeah.
Because the concept is that like Warner Brothers has an algorithm, and then LeBron James gets sucked into the algorithm, and it.
So they
challenges
use all
him to a
the
basketball
Warner
game.
Brothers IP. So
Yeah.
there's like Game of Thrones
And
references and
Harry
Harry
Potter
Potter.
and Batman and shit.
There's all these
No,
references
why
through
didn't they
Warner.
bring back the Monstars?
But they would have made those references in 97 or 96.
totally.
It's like, I don't know. I
The
think
movie
it's
was an
something-
advertisement for Warner Brothers.
Right. But also,
but we're
Space
sitting-
Jam
but
was an
also-
advertisement
That's
for
what I mean. It's
Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
but also an ad for LeBron.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and some people are like LeBron's acting sucks. I'm like, like
Michael
Jordan was a
was
thespian.
horrendous.
Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? Like, you act like Michael Jordan was so good.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch do it, even if they're not amazing at it.
Yeah. Bugs Bunny is the star of the movie. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
But yeah, people had some serious opinions on that. I haven't gotten through it. It's one thing my wife said to me. She's like, when are we going to watch Space Jam? Because we have the baby. So it's like, that's such a metaphorical existential question. When are we going to watch Space Jam? It's like, when are we going to have time to do anything ever again?
Do you ever really watch Space Jam?
Space Jam watches you.
What was the LeBron James version of the stretch arm? You know, the iconic. I think that most iconic frame.
I have it at the end, but I'm not going to reveal it. But
stretch ankles.
Well, as it was happening, I go, "Oh, they're just going to do the
hops.
stretch, and they're going to end it with a stretch." I was like, "That's kind of lame," but they didn't do it. They ended it in a slightly different way. That's all I'll say.
Does anybody shoot? Like try to make a dunk and they take the ball and go into the hoop
I
themselves.
don't think so. I don't remember.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That's pretty visually cool.
Yeah, we should have made that.
I know.
I wish Bill Murray was in the new one. That would have been like, that was the smart move.
Yeah. It would be all the 30, 40-year-olds would be like, yes!
I feel like that when they were making the first Space Jam, Bill Murray's cameo was so like a non sequitur and like it doesn't even like it makes no sense that it's in there that they must be like, this movie kind of sucks. Who can we get to like just show up? And they're like, Bill Murray. And it works. You're like, Bill Murray comes in, does a behind the back pass, and you're like, Bill Murray.
I feel like he was just on set.
Yeah, he stopped by. Yeah.
Like, oh, jump in.
Well, he's from Chicago. He's like a Bulls fan, so maybe he's just like showing up to see Jordan, and Jordan's let's put him in the movie.
Yeah.
I just remember the Bill Murray voice crack from the original Space Jams. It's at the end of the movie. I forget even why he like gets slightly like heartbroken or like just like, and he just goes, let's go Bulls. And it was just, I don't know why he does it. And I'll be honest, I'm not but that is one of the best moments in cinematic history. Let's go Bulls. It's such a funny small thing. I'm not even giving you the context, and it's kind of funny.
I barely remember it, but I'm enjoying hearing about it.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Kind of.
I think so. Yeah.
That's the thing about Bill Murray. His genius is that like he's so comfortable on film that he'll do anything.
Yeah.
Like he seems like he doesn't give a fuck about anything, and he'll just riff whatever, and he's not even worried about it being good necessarily.
He just does shit. He uses his fame in the way you should use your fame. In a way that, wouldn't it be nuts if I showed up and bartended a shift at this bar? And he did. He just bartended at this bar for like 3 hours and like split the tips and left. Like it's just like
I do like that he did take some tips.
Right? It was just like it's just hilarious. It's just like if he didn't, it would be like it wouldn't be as cool. Yeah. There's a whole documentary about it. It's not really that good.
I saw it. Yeah, I didn't like it.
The documentary was done by someone who was hoping that he would end up meeting Bill Murray at the end.
And then he pussied out at the very end. Yeah. He tried to like frame it like, I walked up to Bill and I almost saw him, but I thought, it'd be better not to meet him. Because that would mean so much more, and that's more in the spirit of Bill.
You're like, so lame, dude.
You fucking pussied out, and you just didn't talk to him.
Or you walked up to him and he said, "Get the fuck away from me, you fucking piece of shit!"
Following me,
and you couldn't end the documentary about how cool of a guy he was with him being a dick to you. Yeah. So you just go, "It ended up being I didn't see him." Yeah.
God, but that would have made it the best documentary.
I know
that would have been that's Bill Murray.
That's the guy.
That's fun. I've never even heard of that documentary. A guy.
I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because it's all the Bill Murray does a weird kind of.
It's all the
no
stories.
one will believe you. Like, I'm Bill Murray. Or
yeah. And there's all these stories, and they like go and interview the people, and he's like, "Yeah, we were taking our pictures for our wedding." And then Bill Murray just walked by, and then he started taking pictures, and he got in the pictures, and basically their whole wedding shoot is just them and Bill Murray together.
Yeah. And then he went to they're having a punk band at a house. It's just somebody's house. So
a house party, with a band in the
crazy
backyard.
Party. And then he just shows up and starts drumming, and then he did the dishes.
Yeah.
He's just like a weird Zen dude who just hangs out with people. Just goes wherever he wants. He uses it as a golden key to do whatever you want. And I think somebody asked him about it. He's like, so you just show up at these parties? He's like, yeah, if you bring a bottle of wine, people really don't mind.
A bottle of wine can kind of get you into anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
It's like if you're Bill Murray, you can't go to places the same way you used to. So if you crash things that you're not supposed to be at with a bunch of unsuspecting people with other stuff going on, it's like, oh shit, that's Bill. What's why is Bill Murray here? It's not in a place that's like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's all in LA. You know what I mean? It'd be
Yeah.
one thing if this was all happening in LA. This is happening in like Texas and South Carolina. It's in these random places that he goes. It's not even like, you know, he was hanging out at a bar that celebrities are at and Bill Murray was there. It's not even that at all. He's just like, he does it right.
That's a dude who I would be afraid to meet because I'd be like, "Ugh, I'm gonna be so fucking boring. Like he's like a big sports fan, like Chicago. He's like, oh, you like baseball? I'd be like, no. And then I'd be like, oh, so SNL was pretty cool. He's like, ugh. It's the last thing he wants to talk about.
Yeah, man, that's funny to think you would really disappoint him.
I know.
That's like, do you think you'd talk about wrestling or what would you go to?
He actually seems like a dude who would just listen to me talk about wrestling.
Right.
And just, he probably wouldn't be interested, but he'd just be like, let me hear what this fucking idiot has to say. But, yeah, I would just talk his ear off about wrestling.
That
See
is
how
the
it
right
goes.
way to do fame. It's just he just makes it so he gets to like have whatever he wants and no one's gonna kick him out.
Yeah.
Like if he shows up to your wedding, how would you have felt if Bill Murray
Like, holy
you're
shit.
you're on the dance floor and then you just look left and you're like, that's Bill fucking Murray.
It would be the best.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it meet him that way than like me walk up to him and be like, Mr. Murray, I'm a really big fan. SNL was cool. Like the same thing.
Yeah.
Like in that context, he takes that away.
Right.
Where you're like, no, he's at my wedding.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like I don't have
He
to.
needs to apologize to me.
Yeah. So like we can all just hang out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was him, but it was somebody who was saying that when you get famous, it's like the whole world becomes a small town.
Right.
And like everybody just is friendly and says, oh my gosh, hi, good to see you. Hi, how are you? And you can just talk to anybody.
Bill Murray said like when you get super famous, everybody has like 2 or 3 years to be a complete dickhead. But he's like, if you don't come back after those 3 years, you're gone forever. And I think he was talking about Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
But I think like he's like someone asked him like if you could be rich or famous, what would it be? He'd be like, dude, rich every time.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck fame. Fame's terrible. And I think like he has a very I don't know, probably the most healthy way of looking at something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas other people need that fame.
He, did we talk about this where he insulted Chevy Chase? They got into a fight backstage at SNL.
Oh yeah. We've talked about it before. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. It's one of the best insults of all time.
Greatest insult ever. He's yelling. They're going back and forth at the backstage at SNL. They're about to get in a fist fight.
I think they actually, one of them hit the
Yeah.
other one too. I don't know if it was after this line or before this line. Or
But Bill Murray just goes, medium talent. It's not even like you're no talent. You're
yeah,
just
because
like
if you
average.
say no talent to Chevy Chase, it's such a stupid insult because he clearly has talent. But if you go medium talent,
Yeah, especially if he
Man.
believes it.
yeah, oh man, it just means like you're decent.
Nothing special.
Yeah, nothing special.
Well,
But you're all right.
That's the whole, if the criticism can maybe be true, it hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
But if it's like just absurd or just as mean as possible, you're like, that doesn't even affect
Yeah.
me because you can just brush that off.
totally.
Anyway, I feel like I'm having a lot of times where I'm ending the conversation on
No.
summing it up. I'm like, oh shit.
And that was all the Bill Murray juice to squeeze.
So he just say another movie he was in.
What about Bob? That was pretty good. What is this? What's in here? Can I look at this?
Whitmer brought that.
No, dude, you're not allowed to look at it. It's mine. Fuck you, dude.
I remember, I don't know, it was at your house one time at the Super Bowl party, but it was one of your friends. I met him that one time. I don't remember his name, but like he brought like 2 cases of beer for everybody. It was so obviously for everyone. It was just a ridiculous amount of beer. And Mike Schrenderman just like asked, hey, is it okay if I have one of your beers? And he just goes, like he gave him the most like, what the fuck would you ask me that for? But he was totally kidding because it was so obvious that like how many
He's
beers
like, dude, I brought 48. Do you think they're for me?
He's like, why the fuck would you ask me that? He said it like that. I was like, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen just because it was like a movie.
Yeah.
But it's so like that he was taking offense at being even asked.
Right? Yeah, kind of like, but jokingly.
Did Schwendy think it was serious?
No, he was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Butch Fenderman's now a lawyer or something.
He just keeps getting promoted every time.
That-
Mike Schwenderman is the guy who we knew him, and when he was a comedian here in New York, and he was like a scoundrel in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Like everything he was doing, he had a scheme. He was doing therapy. He literally put up posts, signposts saying like he's a therapist. He wasn't a therapist. He didn't graduate with a therapy, whatever the fuck you need. So it's illegal to do that. He started seeing clients. They would call him and he'd be like, my office is under construction, so can we meet in the park? And he would go to the park and just do therapy for the people. He's like get rich quick. He's like the funniest guy ever. And now he lives like the most normal, he's doing so well. He married a doctor. He's like, I don't even know. He has a great job. He's like, he's just crushing it.
He's the epitome of like a survivor and like just makes it in the world. Everything he's done, it makes the most sense for his arc to be he figures it out and now it's like ultimately good.
Right.
He's done everything. Like even like his wedding, it was such a funny combination of like cultures because it was Russians and Chinese people.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's the perfect. Schwenderman is Russian, China, like has a connection to Russia, China, and America. Like no matter what happens, he's fine.
Yeah.
And that's totally, it makes sense. He's like playing all angles.
Yeah.
He has, his hands in every pot. So whichever way the world goes, he's like, oh, I've been loyal to you the entire time.
He's working each government. Yeah.
The funny thing is like he still like he invited me to his wedding like 7 days before his wedding. And I was like, what are you like, you can't do that, dude.
Kind of a great way to do it.
He still has the Schwendy like has no idea how things are supposed to be done, so he's just making it up. That's so funny. Like he's like, oh, do you want to come to the wedding? I'm like, great, when is it? He's like, next weekend. I'm like, dude, like come on. Like you can't do that.
Yeah, he's the funniest.
You should have gone, man.
I wanted to. I literally couldn't.
Where was it?
It was in DC. It was also right during the pandemic too.
Oh,
so I was like, that was part of it, and yeah, there was a bunch of other shit going on. So, but yeah, I mean, he's the best. Mike Schwenderman, legend.
Truly a New York. He's like he's kind of got that. Yeah, he's a little bit of I don't know. Do you know Tom Bombadil?
Sure.
From Lord of the Rings.
The book.
I thought you just made up a dude. I was like, what?
Actually, my roommate is Tom Bombadil. Do you know? So
what's the reference?
Tom Bombadil is from Lord of the Rings, the books.
Yeah.
He is
he's like this
mythic, like he just appears he's from the woods.
Yeah, he's just a guy who lives in the woods. Is like magical. He's not really a hobbit. He's not an elf. He's just like this like
magical dude.
And the thing that's so crazy about it is like they cut him from the movies because it makes no sense that he's in the book.
So he just pops in and just says some shit and leaves?
Literally, like they go to his house. It's a whole chapter and he just says like crazy shit. He's not influenced by the ring whatsoever. He's like, oh, that's a fucking weird ring. And then they just leave and nobody talks about him ever again.
But no, I think he at one time does save Frodo.
Oh, does he?
From
I don't
some
remember.
shit. Yeah, he does, Johnny?
Yeah, he can like do anything.
Yeah, he's like
You can't control him, so he's not reliable.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like, never had the ring.
So, but he is like this like almost like invulnerable, like he can just
like if he really wanted to take the ring to the volcano and drop it in, he could do it in 4 seconds. But
Bro.
you
But
just
he's
no
too
way
much
you
of a
can
loose
get him. There's no way you could get him to
but
do
he's
it.
just
You find him at a bar afterwards, like 10 minutes later. He's like, I don't know where I put
pawned
it.
I don't know, dude.
He's too zen to even
Right.
give a fuck about the world ending. So that's my roommate Jacques. Like here's an example of we went to one of our friends had like a gallery opening, and first off, I live in this house for free because of him. But the second thing is we were just hanging out, and he goes, "Oh, I'll be right back." It was 10:30 at night, and we were just hanging out outside like a deli. And he comes back 10 minutes later
With Bill
just
Murray. And you're like, what the fuck?
oh my, he is Bill Murray. No, he just came back with a bag of bagels, and we were like, "Where did you just go buy the bagels?" And he goes, "No. The bagels on 10th Street. I remember they throw their bagels out on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. So I just knew that's where the bagels were.
Yeah.
So he just like knows certain random things like that I'm like, dude, it's just like, he's just like a New York unicorn. Like, how does he exist? It's magical.
He's got all the angles figured out, and he's got. It's like Grand Theft Auto. He has just like save spots all over the city.
Yeah. Dude, those games are so good.
I haven't played one. I haven't played 5 in like, I don't even remember. I used to love that game.
Are they making a new one?
No. I mean,
Eventually,
they've been saying
and
it
they're
for
like,
years.
how much more money do we want, guys?
Yeah, I know. That's like a joke in like.
But they're like Louis albums. They're like, or like not even that. They're even rarer. Like they could make a new Grand Theft Auto every year, but they don't.
Yeah.
And they're
well,
like, no, let's
but
wait
that would
12
also
years.
make it suck because
I know, but everybody else does that, and they
Yeah.
make terrible shit over and over again. They diarrhea it out for money.
GTA 2K2 or 22. Yeah, that's like a running joke within the. If you go on like gaming subreddits and stuff, they're like Grand Theft Auto throughout the years, and then it's like 2021, it's the same game because I guess they just keep releasing Grand Theft Auto 5, like updated versions of it.
that's
HD
smarter.
remaster.
Well, they do create this whole world, and it's
Yeah.
like a sandbox world. So like,
And they're like,
you
just
can
fucking
get
play it again.
Yeah, you can just do you can do so much. Like
Yeah.
those games are awesome.
those, the open world games are the best because you can just explore the world for
Yeah.
like ever, and you don't even do the missions. You just drive around, steal cars,
Yeah.
put cars in the garage,
Get the army to chase you.
get the army. To
That
chase
me and
you.
my old roommate, like him and I both went through independently and beat Grand Theft Auto 5, like the campaign mode. And then every other time we ever played the game, it was literally just like we would swap controllers. Like, it's your turn. Get as many stars as you can and see how long you can live.
Yeah.
And then he would give it to me, and then I would try. And we would do that for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it does. Here's the thing. On one hand, I actually feel like their rating system has some realism to it.
Right.
Yes, of course. Like you can you kill a person and they just chill out if you like change clothes. But like the thing that
Yeah, you're right.
You
The
just
guy who
walk in with
you
a
look
red
just
shirt.
like that guy who murdered all those people, but he got a blue shirt on.
Damn, let's go.
Yeah, it must not be him.
all right, guys, pack it up. He's good. But you do kind of think like, you probably would get the SWAT on you if you had a rocket launcher in
Yeah, I
a street
know.
and you
Yeah.
had stolen a tank. They'd be like, okay, someone's going mad and they're on fire. Like they've killed 948
I know.
people.
My favorite was when they had the cheat codes and you could like eliminate your stars.
Oh yeah.
So like you just do fucking malevolent violence for like an hour and then just go back down to 0 stars. Everybody just walks away. I was like, I just
But
blew up
then
a
it's
building.
just all of
That's like the metaphor for financial
I know,
crimes.
really.
Like you just completely destroyed the
Everybody
entire
just
U.S.
turns
economy,
around.
and you're like, all right, beep, 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 beep. All right, no prison time, we're good.
It is funny, like what goes on in those FBI, like the SWAT team's head when like they're fucking get him. What's going on?
Ooh, butterfly.
That game is. So
And then
good.
you steal one,
Yeah.
and when you steal an FBI card,
Yeah.
I think it's an auto 4 stars.
Yeah.
You're just like, they're like, holy shit, this motherfucker is stealing FBI cars.
Everybody, those games you can play for so long. Everybody, I'm pretty sure, has played that game for so long that at some point they play the game and they abide by all the traffic laws just to
Yeah.
see what would happen. You're just like, wait, what am I doing? I'm just living life.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of like those games. I remember when they first came out, they're like, these are too violent. And I'm like, dude, you're just doing what you're allowed to do. Like people just do what they kind of want to do. Some people want to punch hookers in the street.
Right.
Like,
I remember
just
the
allows you
first
to
time
do it.
I got a hooker. I didn't know you could get a hooker in a game. It's a video game. Not the first time I got I was playing Grand Theft Auto, and I don't remember if like I either lied to my parents about it not having it, or I told them it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But like when you're picking up a hooker in that game, it drives, and then all of a sudden the hooker starts like moaning, like you're
Yeah.
fucking, and then so I'm sitting there playing a game. Then all of a sudden, my mom just hears, And she's like, what the fuck are you watching? Like, she's like, thought I was watching porn. And I'm like, it's just a video game. She's like, what do you know what Mario Brothers is a video game? That's not a video game. I don't know what that is, but you're fucking a hooker.
It is crazy because your mom probably like remembers Mario, and then to go all the way to like your son's.
She started with Pong, and then now my son's fucking a hooker in a car.
Yeah.
Man.
That's so funny, man. I remember one. Do you guys know this is one where people were like, "What the fuck are you watching?" Do you remember the movie? Obviously, you do. Liar, Liar.
Yeah.
There is I think like one of the pivotal plot points is like he's like a lawyer against this like gold digger, right? Mm-hmm. And they play a tape of her, like a sex tape, audio of a sex tape. And I remember being like a 7-year-old in my dad's doctor's office watching it. And then a nurse was like, what the fuck? She just heard just the moaning. She's like, what the fuck what are you watching? And they were like, she was a little bit like mad at me for a sec. I was like, I have no idea why you're even weird about this. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that movie's amazing.
Liar, Liar is great.
Jim Carrey is like unheralded as like, it's weird people have forgotten how much of a physical comedian he was and how genius he was at it. Like I've been listening to interviews with him and like just name like just the rhino scene from Ace Ventura 2.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's one of the funniest things of all time. Just like the idea that you just show a family on the safari just sees a naked man fall out of a rhino. This is the fucking funniest
and thing. Me, Myself, and Irene when he beats the shit out of himself.
Yeah.
Like,
it's genius.
That's like, how can you even fucking? That's one of the funniest things in that too is in Me, Myself, and Irene. They open up the trunk of a car, and if you remember the movie, he has a schizophrenic personality that he morphs into. He pulls out a dildo.
Yeah.
And he goes, what the fuck is this? And he goes, she's like, I used it on you. Like, that's what you wanted. And then he does this thing with the dildo where he like shakes it and goes with it or something. And I'm like, that 3 seconds alone is funnier than any movie. Like, Jim Carrey is literally the funniest man, dude.
Yeah, he kind of became like a weirdo art guy now.
It's kind of natural for someone like that who's so otherworldly talented to just completely become a weirdo.
Mm-hmm. He was great even in the Sonic.
I didn't see
Sonic movie from like I don't know,
a couple years
3
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
He was amazing in it. Where you're just like, man, he's even like, he's just so fun to watch on screen.
Yeah,
like he's just electric.
You know, I heard the movie Man on the Moon. You know, the other actor who was up for that was Ed Norton.
Really?
Isn't it so weird to think about those two guys playing?
Yeah.
Like that movie, that role is such a Jim Carrey role.
Yeah, and he's also a comedian. It's like, you kind of need that.
But Ed Norton almost got it, and then instead did like Fight Club or something. It was like one of those things where and it's like that. I don't wonder how many times it doesn't work out that way where like two actors, and no one knows because they both were in the wrong movie.
Yeah.
When they could have swapped and it was been the better movies and maybe the movies would have been more popular, but since they weren't, no one really, you know what I mean? Like if there's a movie that you watch that sucks, there's really no what could have been in your mind because no one really likes the movie. It sucked and no one talks about it. You know what I mean? But a movie that blew up with the right actor, it could have just been as easy that movie blew up because it had the right person in it. I don't know.
Right. I mean, clearly, if that was the case, Edward Norton also made the right choice. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like being in Fight Club was like, oh wow.
Yeah, he's perfect for that. And there was like, I was listening to that Rewatchables where they're talking about all the other people that could have been like Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Was he supposed to be the narrator or Tyler Durden?
I think he was supposed to be
because Brad Pitt's the only person that could pull that off ever.
Yeah, I think Matt Damon was supposed to be the Ed Norton character, the narrator. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work with Matt. Matt Damon's not like sexy enough.
Ooh,
to be Brad Pitt. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Though, like
I know
like he Matt Damon has that like very good. He can either be like he has a very good like dignified Boston guy look.
Brad Pitt is the epitome of like what people talk about when they say like the perfect person, like the perfect specimen.
Yeah.
Like he's a movie star. He seems cool.
Incredibly talented.
He's built.
Yeah.
He's like
everybody who I've ever heard talk about him is like, no, dude, he's a normal as fuck dude.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's the best, dude.
Or Matt Damon. Who are we talking?
No, we're talking about Brad Pitt, but Matt Damon is like a guy who like if he worked at the office you worked at, he would be the most attractive guy who works there. But in Hollywood, he's like, he's all right. You know what I mean? It's because Brad Pitt is like, people like that. Like people like Brad Pitt or like Clooney. Like his two friends are Brad Pitt and George Clooney. Like he's friends with the hottest guys ever, right?
What the fuck happened to George Clooney?
He's around. He was just in that Netflix movie. I think he directed something recently.
Yeah. I don't know. He doesn't. I don't know. The movies that he directs are not my favorite.
I was having this debate with a friend of mine who he's a Leo hater, and I was like, I think Leo is like he has like one of the best resumes. Like if you go through his IMDb, like even the movies that weren't huge hits were good movies. Yeah. Like Leo just because he picks movies by directors, he's very smart about the projects he picks. And this guy's like, I don't know, I think George Clooney's career is better than Leo's. And I'm like, there's no universe. Really. There's no universe.
Leatherheads?
I was gonna meet like George Clooney has so many like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like you're George Clooney, you could be anything, and you're doing this movie. You're doing the Monuments Men. Like what? Yeah. And he directed that too. Like I don't know. I like George Clooney a lot, but he's just not always. He doesn't pick his movies very well. I think.
He wants to be a director too much.
Right.
Just be in someone's good movie.
I was listening to Matt Damon talk about it. He was like, it's a director's medium.
Yeah.
He's like, if I have to choose between a role that I love and a director that's great, I always pick the director. And I think that's the right way to go because you're always going to be in a good movie that way. I mean, not always. There will be.
That Downsizing movie was...
Yeah.
That was so bad.
That was so funny. I've never seen it, but like Downsizing was this Alexander Payne.
And I love Alexander Payne.
Yeah, so this is a movie... I listened to him talk about this on an interview actually, and he was like... They asked him, like, out of all the movies that you did, which one of them were you surprised that flopped? And he said, Downsizing.
Yeah.
He's like, it's an Alexander Payne movie.
Yeah.
And then someone was like, that movie might be one of those movies that has a resurgence in 5 or 6 years when... I don't know. It has something to do with, like, they shrink down to small, so, like, they're using less resources or something.
The idea is they shrink you in order to reduce your carbon footprint. So they make you really small. But then, like, the movie takes this weird turn. Because if you bought that movie, if you rented that, like, for that movie, it's a completely different movie by the end of it. And you're like, this is like, he's on a boat somewhere in, like, Iceland for some reason at the end. It's, like, really weird.
Huh.
It's, like, it doesn't
sometimes
jive
it's the marketing of movies that ruin them because they make you think the movie. We keep talking about Matt Damon, but his new movie Stillwater, like the way you look at it on like the trailer and like the way you look at the posters, it looks like it's like some action movie. It's like some badass dude with a hat and a beard.
I'm gonna go to Iraq and fight somebody.
Right, but apparently it's like he's like, if you watch this movie expecting like an action movie, you're like it's a drama. He's like you're gonna be disappointed. I'm like, that sucks that, like, it looks like a Liam Neeson movie, doesn't it? It's like Stillwater. Oh, someone kidnaps his daughter, then he goes and kills him. Like, that's what the movie's about, right? Yeah. And it's like, no, it's not. So sometimes the way they just choose to market a movie, because they don't give a fuck if you like it. They just need the butts in the seats to make the money back. So, like, I've done like social media advertising before, and there's people who do that and they specialize in it, and they're like, dude, I'll get you 5,000 clicks. I'll get you so many clicks, and in your head you go, clicks are great, they see the thing. But if you get 6,000 clicks from people who will no way enjoy what you're doing, then it doesn't matter at all. Like, it just depends on how you're measuring success. Right. So if all you want is the butts in the seats, you can market it to try to make it look like the most crazy thing, but they're all going to be disappointed. Right. You did your job. You got the butts in the seats, but everybody who saw it hated it because of what you told them what it was going to be. And again, I've never seen that movie. It could just suck on its own merit. I have no idea.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what it was about. It just looked like he grew a beard and like put on weight and was just like, my name's Stillwater. Like
I was talking about Downsizing, but yeah. But either one, I mean, they're the same idea.
You know what's a great Matt Damon movie? Stuck on You.
I have not seen that movie.
Stuck on You.
I think I've seen
plays.
parts.
I think he's a Siamese twin.
Conjoined twin. Excuse
me. Greg Kinnear.
Greg Kinnear, yeah.
Love Greg Kinnear.
So that's like one of those ones. Like it's like a quintessentially like, and it has Ava Mendes in it.
Yeah.
Was that a Fairley Brothers movie?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. See, that's again, he picks Fairley Brothers. It's
Fairley
like smart.
Brothers,
Smart.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Matt Damon has some of the. This is like what an actor is partially what they're measured by is obviously their talent and ability, but part of the talent is just selection.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Taste.
like, yeah. And then obviously it's that mix of like, sometimes it sucks. but I think Matt Damon has some of the best taste.
Yeah.
And that's partially why he's had such a great career, in addition to being bonkers talented.
Because if you pick a good director, like an Alexander Payne or a David Fincher or something like that, even if they make a bad movie, you're still in their canon. Like, people are going to still watch their movie because it's like,
Right.
I'm in a bad David Fincher movie, but I'm still in a David Fincher movie.
Right. And like at the batting average of Fincher is high enough to where like it's reasonable
It's
to
worth it.
assume that the movie you're going to be in is probably going to be good.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, he's got to work with Tarantino. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one I was going through. I was like, that's the only guy. I think he's done Soderbergh a bunch. He's done Scorsese with The Departed.
He's worked with everybody.
Everybody is
people
like,
you didn't even think.
Yeah, I wonder that about Tarantino too. It's like, do you like have it? Like if Matt Damon was like, I'll be in your next movie, whatever. Are you? If you're Tarantino, you're like, yeah, we'll see. Like how much? You know what I mean?
Well, no, he's talked about it. He's talked about like you got to get the right guy for the right role. Like,
Right.
He was like, me and Tom Hanks have been wanting to work with each other forever, but I
Right.
just haven't gotten the role for him.
Yeah,
He's like, he could have done Max Cherry, but no. But
Right.
he's like, we just haven't, and we might not because he only has one more.
one more movie. I hope
Is he really gonna abide by that?
That's what he says.
I don't know. Who knows? He said he almost wanted to. He thought of remaking Reservoir Dogs for his last movie, which would have been so funny. I would have been so annoyed, but like,
I would still see it. I'd buy the ticket, be there first day.
yeah, he said he would do it with an all-black cast.
That's awesome.
Probably get Denzel or something.
That actually might be great. When you just said remake it, I was like, why?
You got shot in the gut.
Well, that's what they were talking about doing the Star Wars or the Star Trek movie, and I was like, dude, your 10th movie can't be the Star
Yeah, I
Trek
know.
movie. And eventually he said,
But that's
it can't
also this is why we need like one of the things that's great about Tarantino is he still makes he still gets movies in the top 15 that are like original
Yeah.
movies. And that's so I think I saw an infographic that was like top 15 movies of like 2019, so like right before the pandemic, and they're literally all franchises or remakes.
Yeah.
And then it showed like 20 years ago, like 1999 or whatever,
Yeah.
and it was like
Independence Day, Armageddon.
it was just all of just these random, even like Good Will Hunting was
Right,
on
yeah.
it, and like As Good as It Gets, and just
Yeah.
all these movies that were like, oh wow, they're
Original
be.
script.
Is as good as it gets the one with
Jack Nicholson.
Greg Kinnear's the gay
Yeah.
guy. That movie is so bad, and it's like
Won Best Picture, I
I
think.
rewatched
I know it
it like a year ago, and I was
Nah,
like,
I love
this
it.
movie won Best Picture.
It did, it did.
This movie's bad. One,
It was up
two, it does not hold up. Like even as someone who like
Yeah.
I'm not some PC guy, the movie just doesn't
Yeah.
hold up. Like
Yeah.
like Jack Nicholson's character is a homophobic, racist,
Yeah.
narcissist. He's the worst human
But he's
being
lovable.
ever. But everybody's like at the
He's
end,
Jack.
they're like, everybody loves him. I'm like, nobody would love him. There isn't a person who would like that guy.
Yeah.
He sucks. Anyway, that movie's. I don't know if
You know why it wins? Because it has one of the best lines ever. It has a couple scenes
Yeah.
that you're like, oh my god!
But that
it
movie
is
beats
amazing.
something really. Like, I
Because
forget.
you're right. He is terrible, but he does also say,
You make
"You make me want to be a better man," and that's the.
glad we
It's
got the
that is
impression.
that. Huh?
So I'm glad we got the impression.
Yeah, but yeah,
Was that D's?
That was good.
But the movie, it's. I mean,
That line is so
watching that
good.
movie though as an Oscar movie, like 20 years after the fact, you're like, how was this even in the picture?
But he is pretty awful because he's very homophobic.
And,
to
well, I'm
Greg
not-
Kinnear and
I'm-
wait, is Cuba gay?
Yeah,
think
Cuba's
so, yeah.
good, but the thing is, I'm not even going to approach it from a
I know you're not being
a
like-
moralistic standpoint either. Like the movie is also just not very good. Like I'm not going to be like, don't watch the movie because he's this, that, and the other. But I'm just saying, like you watch the movie and you're like, oh, this is an irredeemable character who's going to redeem himself at the end. And I think maybe in the 90s when things were different, you see him as redeemed, but like in today, I'm like, this guy still sucks. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even redeem himself. The last line is to him to Greg Kinnear being like, "Thanks for coming, fairy boy." And you're like,
Fade
"Wait,
to
no,
black.
he's
You're like,
still
Jesus
Like, oh,
Christ.
that's
No.
Jack.
Jack. You're not supposed to say." He's like, "I want the character to do that."
Yeah. I listen to this fascinating thing because I love The Departed so much. It's like my favorite movie. This thing where Jack Nicholson was talking about, Matt Damon was talking about Jack Nicholson, in the scene in The Departed where he shoots the woman in the back of the head, and she falls, and he says, "Geez, she fell funny."
Yeah.
And the whole origin of that, which is I think that's such a funny scene. The origin that Jack Nicholson went to Scorsese and he's like, because the regular script was just he shoots a guy. He's like, no, let's make it a woman because it really shows you how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
And then the whole line was he shoots her in the back of the head. Geez, she fell funny. And then he goes, hey, wait a second. I want to fuck her one more time.
Oh, my God.
And then the guy comes in. He's like, Francis, you really should see somebody.
Yeah.
But they cut out the middle beat. But I'm like, God, that was all just Jack. Everybody shits on Jack in that movie, too. I'm like, dude, Jack made that movie. So, man, I love that movie.
He did, but he was
fucking Departed.
He was on 10.
Yeah, he was going 10. Yeah. Cheese-eating rat bastard. I'm gonna shoot this sketch in a few weeks. It's basically about someone who watched, like me, who watched The Departed too much growing up, and like it's like two cops are interrogating a suspect, and then like a Departed reference just happens to happen by accident, and then the guy just loses his mind and he can't get out of like the Departed like. So
referencing The Departed constantly.
Yeah, so keep that out. Keep an eye out for that. YouTube.
Is that always segueing into plugs?
I think so. I think we're just about an hour, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can find me at ChristianDuranComedy.com, King Latifah on all streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff.
Yep. YouTube.com/Nick Whitmer. Also, Oh Dear has a YouTube channel now. We're working on clips to put out clips, but as of now, the full episodes will be up every week on there. So just look up the Oh Dear podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, Oh Dear podcast on YouTube. Hell yeah.
That's it. I thought you were getting plugs out.
No, that's my plug. And
All right.
Brett Coin.
Sick.
Right on. See you later, Oh Dear Nation.